the impeachment question is still hanging in the air. What is your take on where this is going?
Nagtanggal siya ng vest. Parang
May-
mahaba-haba
it's getting
ito
hot.
eh.
Medyo umiinit
Mainit
ang
na.
discussion. I'll be quick because I can see your next guest coming in, a good friend of
Dadagdagan
ours.
ko na rin
Yeah,
kasi
um,
you posted, you
well,
posted,
I mean,
yeah. Yes.
you posted on your Facebook commenting on President Marcos's soundbite a while ago saying that it is not the right
yes.
time for impeachment and sabi mo, ayan ka na naman. Oo.
No, I just said BBM strikes again. So
Sorry,
like-
again.
No, I mean, my point is, of course, BBM has every reason to distance himself from what's happening in Congress, especially if his cousin Martin Romualdez is looking over shoulders, literally, if you look at the video kanina of his interview. Of course, this is supposed to be in the spirit of checks and balances, separation of powers, independence of the Congress, and obviously, of course, with the INC massive rally. I just don't know how they arrive at 861, 1,287,000. Like, you don't know how they calculated the exact number, but it was big enough. I think it was big enough for BBM not to openly endorse an impeachment against Sara Duterte. But was the INC peace rally big enough for BBM behind the scenes not to support an impeachment, for some of the folks in the Congress not to support it? I don't think so. I think as we speak right now, from what I understand, I cannot say more, but from what I understand, ang conversation ngayon is tactics. Are we going to do the impeachment, essentially the trial now, and then have the vote after elections? Are we going to wait for the next Congress to get the ball rolling? One of the proposals is you kind of do a hybrid. So you do the trial right now in the Congress and then in the Senate. And then once a new Senate comes in that for some, preferably is not so much filled with pro-Duterte people, then you can isolate the pro-Duterte people like Robin Hood Padilla, among others, and then you can get sufficient numbers. So there's some debate. And then there's some people who are saying, this is not about numbers, this is about principles, you just have to do what you have to do. Siguro, ang worst case scenario for some of the progressive people is that, ang fear nila dito is, nagpagamit sila. Because if you look at all the impeachment so far, the 3 impeachment complaints, it's all from genuine opposition folks. Akbayan, Makabayan, whatever.
Correct.
And so far, we're still waiting for the 4th version, and we're still waiting for the traditional politicians and the leadership in the Senate and Congress to make the move. So some people are also fearing that maybe some progressive went too excited against the Dutertes, and that they're going to be left essentially holding the empty bag at the end of the day. So that's why some people are very disappointed with the statements from President Marcos Jr., in as much as they know Marcos Jr. at least performatively has to project some sort of independence and distance from it. So, maging mainit-init ito. But from what I understand, tuloy ang impeachment. It's just a question of mechanics and sequencing and the exact time they want to have the vote. Is it under the current Congress? Is it current Congress right after election before the next Congress comes in? Or immediately when the next Congress starts? Each of these scenario have their pros and cons, and each of these scenario are essentially indeterminate, meaning no one can say for sure if this will succeed.
Maybe
Yeah.
the administration
What is
gets...
for sure is that Sara's numbers are really, really down. If you look at the SWS survey, her numbers are really, really low. Massive drop in her numbers. Her net approval ratings are just over 20%. Okta survey, which I looked at yesterday, actually is even worse. Sara's net approval rating is double-digit below that of Marcos. So she has far more disapproval than Marcos. At the same time, her approval is around 48% versus 65% for Marcos. So Marcos is not doing fantastic compared to Duterte or Aquino. But Sara Duterte, considering how high she started, she's finding herself in a very, very vulnerable position. So even if she may get saved, meaning no impeachment will happen, her political capital is diminishing significantly, and that will have ramifications for her plans if ever she wants to run in 2028 for the highest office.
Well, to put it into context, even President Marcos in the latest SWS surveys also suffered double-digit drops. So it feels a bit like, people have had enough
Both
of
of
this
them. Yes,
political
correct.
squabbling.
There is a mutual destruction, but once one side controls the livers of the state and massive budget, the other side is outside the circles of power. So it's a mutual destruction, but
Yeah.
with asymmetrical effect. That's something we have to keep in mind. Yeah.
Very good point.